Good morning, all. Thank you so much, Major, and thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Um, I'm so happy to be here. I want to start with wishing all our audience Happy Women's Day, Happy Mahashivratri. Mahadev ki kripa hum sab pe bani rahe, and this show also should be blessed. And the topic that we are leading with today is sustainability. And I am afraid to say that today is not a great day to talk about sustainability because it's yesterday. We are already late. The way things are moving on the planet Earth, we have no idea what we are leaving behind. And I feel so privileged to be hosting this show today, moderating this talk with stalwarts like Madhulika, who has been working in the space of reviving lakes in Hyderabad. So she has been passionately working on it for last more than 20 years. And I have personally worked with her on some of the projects. And I know the passion that she brings with her, the deep knowledge that she has. And recently, she has submitted her thesis in MTech on in the similar space. Welcome to the show, Madhulika, and thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And then we have Vinita. She is joining us from Chennai. Welcome, Vinita. I was having a chat with Vinita yesterday, and I was awestruck with the inputs that I got from her. She is currently running an IT company, but that's not her main introduction. Her main introduction is she has been working in the space of reviving traditional games, which is a wow factor for me, Vinita. I have been stalking you on social media, and that is how I referred your name. This is something not many people have thought of. This is not only reviving our roots, connecting us to our roots, but also showing us the sustainable way of doing it. The way new age toys and games are, we know what kind of pollution they are causing around, and you have taken up this task of reviving, which are not only mentally stimulating, and they have got lots more than what they show. So thank you so much for taking this up. She is running it under the brand name Krida in Chennai, and it's on my list. Whenever I'm in Chennai, I'm visiting you, and I'm doing lots of shopping from there. And once we go deep in the conversation, you will come to know how over the years she has been continuously working towards making sustainability as the way of living. The whole story is weaved around how can we reduce pollution, how can we reduce waste, how can we operate in a zero waste manner. So once we go deep in the conversation, we'll get to know more about it. Welcome to the show, Vinita, and thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank you, Urvashi, for having me. And you don't need to come to Chennai. The games are available in Hyderabad.
I want to touch and feel and take them. So nice of you. Oh yeah, then we'll share details on that. Yeah, and then we have Mrinalini with us. I happened to meet Mrinalini very recently, and I wonder why it was so late, because I strongly believe in how universe brings the right people together. So we met on a meet for Rang Day, which is a platform which is helping farmers generate funds, so they're getting social investors together and diverting those funds for the farmers. But what caught my attention about Mrinalini was she had written in her profile she's passionate about sustainability. And then when somebody says that, you think, okay, they must be in some business of sustainability. And what I found out was, for her, sustainability is the way of living. And I think that is the connecting point for all four women that are on show today here. For us, sustainability is how you live. Sustainability, you operate. Sustainability is the lifestyle for us. And I'm so happy that we get to have a little discussion around this. So Mrinalini is a co-founder of a brand called 6 Yard Plus. Is that right, Mrinalini? 6 Yard Plus. Yeah.
Plus,
So
yeah.
I now imagine the purpose of floating this brand. Mrinalini thinks that one, there are lesser people who are, flaunting saris, especially the younger generation. So she wanted to bring sari back in fashion. But the bigger reason, underlying reason is sari as a costume, sari as an outfit is a sustainable outfit. She was telling me yesterday that a sari can be worn for 40 to 80 years, and I was like, huh, how's that possible? And then I was thinking, I have a couple of saris which belong to my mom and her mom, and if I calculate, it is 40 to 80 years. I keep wearing one of my grandmother-in-law's sari, which is easily 60 years or maybe more old. So you were so right when you said that, and it's showcasing how sustainability is the way of living. So she also is not only trying to revive our culture, trying to make sure that our culture becomes the mainstream and is top of mind for young generation, but also working towards how she can do it sustainability. And when we go deeper in conversation, you will get to know lots more about how a brand called Dubara from her stable is making sure that less of it goes to the landfill. So, Madhulika, you'll be very interested with Vinita and Mrinalini because both of them are working towards reducing the landfill. So, we are, making your job easy of cleaning the lakes.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Madhulika, it will be great if your camera is on. Yeah, we want to see the beautiful faces. Thank you. Thank you. Right. On that note, I welcome you all on the show, and I want to start with Madhulika. Please share a little more about your experience of that you have come across while you have been cleaning the lakes. I'm sure it has been a very tedious process. How you were able to get more people join you, because I see Dhruvansh, the name of the organization that you run, has got a huge number of volunteers like who are, and I have been one of them at some part of time. I didn't do much, but yes, I can talk about it. I was there. I gathered a lot of kids from my community, a lot of people. We made huge bioenzyme, dumped it in the lake. Throw a little light on your journey. Why, how did it start? Why did you think of it? How did it come to your mind, okay, I have to start cleaning the lakes? And वो कैसे हुआ कि हम अकेले चलते गए and karma बढ़ता गया?
Yeah, very, very rightly said, Dr. Urvashi, and I'm really thankful to the Startup TV as well as to you to hosting such a beautiful event, right? And lots of wishes of Women's Day as well as to Shivratri to you also and the whole team. Yes, I mean, the guys, this is, we call it as a Shivratri, right? But it is again a powerful for the Parvati. The same way, I really believe that somewhere, and the Parvati, if you count all the gods, right? If you see all the gods, the Parvati, though she is born on the earth, she is the most powerful god, right?
So
If you have ever just observed, so this is true that if you are born on the earth, you have a good amount of the powers. And my journey started the same. Like I'm mother, I have two kids, and I'm working in I've done MTech in computer engineering, so I was working in IT field. And I was nowadays the parents are too much active, so I was also active parent and keep on involved with my kids. So this is very natural, right, that this generation is kind of thing. But slowly I realized that everything what I'm watching, I'm not able to find on the ground level, right? And then I have a good amount of the time because I worked as a 8 years in the professor in ICFA University also, and I interacted with the engineering students. And then again, I find out that their base is, what is India, what is environment, why we are studying this. Such kind of thought process are totally out. This is true because when I was in 12th, right, I want to take up geography as a science. But since I was good in studies, my parents forced me to go for the computer engineering. So that is how it is happening all over India, right? It's none of the fault, but the parents prefer that passion is not so important. It's the money which is more important. So, but somewhere after doing computer engineering, working in that sector for so many of the years, but somewhere the passion was still that spark was there. And my kids were very small. In fact, my elder son was in the third grade only when I decided ki now this is time, Madhulika, that you have to jump. You have to decide that which way you want to go. It was a very tough time because nobody is going to accept my decision. I already know that. If, in fact, not my husband, not my kids. Parents is very, you can say long ago things. And then if you are doing good in your life and then suddenly you just leave everything and start doing that, let me check whether I am really a good mother or not. So this is a check for me, right? Truly speaking, it is not to blame anybody, but I really want to understand, and I'm becoming a better mother, I'm becoming a better wife, I'm becoming a better Indian citizen while working on this particular league. So when I
I
started, it
love
was
this line, better Indian citizen. I mean, if we start thinking like that, most of the problem is solved in any case. Yeah, sorry, please go on.
yeah, sure, you can interrupt. So yes, when I started, it was like that. People were taunting me that Madhulika job nahi mili kya? That's why you started picking up the call, right? You know, you are so much learned, but why you are doing it? Why you are not doing it in the north? Because I belong to Rajasthan UP mix. So I does not belong to Hyderabad. So people are like that ki bhag kar aayi hai. She's a divorcee and something has happened in her life. She's mental. So I was criticized a lot. So being
Oh my God.
that making stories, right? That there should be some problem. That's why she's taking up the lake. Or she wants to encroach the lake or something like that. So yes, I have heard a lot of criticism, which I never expected actually. That if you
And
want
we
to
are
do
talking about
something,
20 years back.
it would be difficult, too much difficult.
I mean, imagine the psyche of the people that if somebody is trying to do something good, अच्छा आपके पास कुछ और करने के लिए नहीं है, so you're doing this. I mean,
Yes.
so pitiful. How can the society even think like that?
नहीं पूरा मैम अब तक द पीपल आई लाइक दैट तो जो हमारी थिंकिंग प्रोसीजर है ना वो ट्विटर और व्हाट्सएप पे बहुत अच्छी है लेकिन ग्राउंड लेवल पे अभी भी अच्छी नहीं so yeah, so in those situations I have criticized which I because मेरे को ये लगता था I want to do something good और good करने में इतना criticism मिलेगा I never thought of. I was not prepared also.
Welcome to the world.
Yes, so in those situations initially it was my two kids only who were my volunteer. उनको मैं जबरदस्ती पकड़ के ले जाती थी कि चलो मेरे साथ करवाओ and that was the work I started. But yes, it actually 1.5 years के बाद मेरे पास volunteers आने शुरू हुए. So
Oh,
you can say that 1.5 years were a testing period for me, that people tested me कि भाई ये टिकेगी कि भाग जाएगी, हमें टिकाऊ चाहिए होता है ना, we test everything and I appreciate that people tested me, right? I was able to pass that test.
you come out stronger.
Yes, because it is making me stronger. That's the reason I'm telling you कि I have seen so many of the things. I mean, you movies में जो दिखाते हैं ना कि मार पिटाई और थप्पड़बाजी सब कुछ झेला है. तो अभी मैं इतनी strong हो चुकी हूँ कि now I'm more stronger than iron.
Oh,
Right?
I'm so glad that women in sustainability are stronger. That is what we want. So how is it
That's how.
today? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
So
the
now the
story like today?
Yeah, so now the story is very good. We are the only organization in the southern area, in fact, who got the first national award from Jal Shakti in
Oh,
2019.
okay.
So yeah, and then we are again the only organization which is selected by the Niti Aayog from last 2 years at the best practices for the lake restoration.
Awesome.
Because जो मेरा लेक रेस्टोरेशन का तरीका है वो बिल्कुल देसी हिंदुस्तानी औरत की तरह है जो हर चीज में कंजूसी करती है which is saving in everything and recycling it.
Reusing, recycling.
So our
That's
lake,
our traditional way. That's how our mothers used to operate. I mean,
actually,
I was a part of a forum, and I was very. A beautiful line was said there कि ये जो sustainability ज्ञान है ना, this is urban population needs it. A rural population doesn't need sustainability ज्ञान because they are operating in a sustainable manner. They won't throw away things. वो उसी कपड़े से झोला बना लेंगे, and they will keep on recycling, reusing till it is vanishing. So landfill is hardly there. And I don't know even if the concept of landfill ever existed in ancient times.
that's really true. I really believe if you see your parents, right? तो जैसे मेरे parents भी थे, तो I have seen that everything they are saving, right? It's their habit of saying. No doubt that time I used to mock at them. Truly speaking, अरे मम्मी पापा आप कितने कंजूस हो. But now
Oh,
I
yes,
realize that is
I've
the
done
way
that.
which is, yes, that is the way which is a perfect way. And now I am doing the same, exactly same. I'm saving everything, whatever I'm getting at the lake, whatever I'm getting at the home, right? मेरे घर में अगर suppose खाना खराब भी हो जाता है, make it sure that it is going to the ants.
Compost
Right,
or
वो भी
ants.
मैं वेस्ट या मैं गार्बेज में जाने के लिए अलाउ नहीं करती हूँ. तो मतलब मुझसे ज्यादा इस टाइम पे कंजूस इंसान आपको धरती पे नहीं मिलेगा.
And I'm happy that we know you like that. So when we are talking about this landfills, तो ये तो lake में भी spillover हो रहा होगा ना मधुलिका? It must
The
be that.
problem is that the biggest problem is which the other can actually throw a very good light. One thing, definitely, two things I just want to say, Urushi, here. That when you are talking about the lakes or when you're talking about the water, you forget about the lakes. Just water की बात कीजिए. तो बैंगलोर का हालत इस टाइम पे इट इज इन वेरी बैड शेप, राइट? इनफैक्ट द पीपल आर नाउ टेलिंग कि भाई डोंट वॉश योर यूटेंसिल्स, डोंट वॉश योर क्लोथ्स, यूज एंड थ्रो वाला, जहाँ पे पानी का यूसेज बिल्कुल जीरो. तो डू यू रियली वांट कि हमारी पोजीशन ऐसी बन जाए वहां पे जो टैंकर्स की कॉस्ट है? आई मीन इनफैक्ट बोरवेल्स इंक्रीज कर दिए गए हैं बिकॉज प्रॉपर वाटर ना तो वाटर लेक्स में अवेलेबल है ना बोरवेल्स में अवेलेबल है. तो बॉम्बे इज इन द वेरी बैड सिचुएशन एंड दिस इज जस्ट स्टार्टिंग ऑफ द मार्च. अभी हमारे पास वी स्टिल हैव 3 months मोर टू गो बिफोर द मॉनसून. So in those situations, these are the alarms, right? Still, if we are not waking up these alarms and we feel, जैसे मैं हमेशा हमेशा एक बात कहती हूँ कि दिस इज अ वॉर, राइट? एक हमने वॉर लड़ी थी 1947 में. अगर लोग ये कहते कि नहीं हम तो सिर्फ सैटरडे संडे को 2 घंटे आके करेंगे फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल, तो क्या हमें क्या हमें फ्रीडम मिल जाती?
Oh my
मैं
God.
ऑलवेज ये कहती हूँ, बट दिस इज अ वॉर दैट यू हैव टू डू नाउ कंटिन्यूअसली 24 hours into 365 days if you really want to sustain human species on the earth.
Yeah.
Right? यहाँ पे सिर्फ if you are protecting the environment, make it sure you are protecting the human species on a global level. So
And the ecosystem is such that humans can survive only when the ecosystem is thriving. And I want to ask you, when you are cleaning up these lakes, what is the maximum garbage that is coming out?
yeah,
I
so
think you'll say clothes. Is that or plastic?
one thing. नहीं clothes. ठीक है.
Clothes.
So नहीं, we got a good amount of condoms also. We got a good amount of divorcee albums. When the people got divorced, they throw the albums also in the lake. Right? We got the coolers, we got the mattress, we got your everything what you see in your home, right? Even your books. And then in the end, yes, a good amount of the clothes, right? In fact, a very good clothes, good quality clothes as well.
Oh my God, that's heart-wrenching.
So in those situations, right, even people photographs and their marriage cards, because what happened, those marriage cards which are left, people throw again in the lake only, right? Suppose if you have printed 1,000 cards and only 700 are used, so 300 cards, marriage cards, birthday cards, will get into the lake. So tires.
I think people don't know what they are doing, therefore they are doing this.
Yes. So what they have to do,
I mean,
they do not have a
I just wish वो देखते कि ये क्या हो रहा है और वो निकाल के garbage में जा रहा है. Yeah, I so agree.
Yeah, and apart from that,
why don't you also start? Sorry, go ahead, please.
In fact, coconuts and cultural siltation is something else which is taken out a little bit easy also, right? इतना गंदा नहीं होता है. Otherwise, घर का hairs cutting जो होती है पूरा का पूरा, it's in the lake only, right? You'll get so much of the hairs. It becomes irritating for me as well. Then you have goats, your calves, your buffaloes. So this is how the lake is.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So those situations, in fact, your septic tanks. Your septic, which is getting you clear your septic tanks, they also release the same thing into the lakes.
Oh.
No, we do not have any septic tank system to manage them.
Oh.
Right. So people in the urban, they throw all the lakes are suffering like this. It's not about the Neknampur Lake. Neknampur Lake, I can give you observation. Otherwise, all over India, the same thing is happening because still for the septic tanks, we do not have a place. Landfill के नाम से आपको पता तो है? At least with the landfill, you know कि अच्छा, this is an area now.
Yeah.
Because landfill has been marketed well.
Yeah.
But septic tanks, still we have not marketed. So everything.
I think you need to not only, apart from cleaning the lakes, you need to start putting lot of efforts on creating awareness and, changing the thought process of people. Make videos and make them viral ki dekho lake mein ye nikla hai. In any case, we are just throwing it away. Something you have to think on those lines, Madhulika. And when you said a lot of clothes are getting dumped in the lake, I want to take the conversation to Mrinalini. Mrinalini, we were discussing how you identified that you are working towards saris should not go in landfill, come what may. Take us through the various things that you have been doing, and they are such interesting things. But I want audience to know from you what you have been doing to make sure saris don't end up there, starting from trying to find out alternate to silk for younger generation to your other innovations. Please take us through that.
Yeah, so thank you so much for this opportunity to MyStartuptv, and it's wonderful to be here with such passionate women who are working towards sustainability. Thanks, Urvashi, for this. So first off, I believe the sari is the most sustainable garment that there is, right? It's just 6 meters of fabric. There's not a single stitch on it. It can fit you all your life. You will never find a time where it is not of use to you. Right. So that fundamentally is where we start from, that of all the garments available to us, the sari is the most sustainable. Right. So when we start at 6 yards plus, there are two reasons, as you pointed out with Vinita as well. The fact that sustainability is a part of our culture and tradition for a very long time. So sadiya tab se hai, there are 100+ ways to drape them. Right. And I think in the last couple of decades, there were several rules about sari draping, but a lot of those have gone out of the window now. So you can style anything with anything, and you can actually get away with the term capsule wardrobe, right? It's ideal for a sari because you just have like 5 things and you can create, I think, 40 looks with them, right? So that's really why I'm passionate about the sari, that you can wear it for a very long period of time, right? Now, if you come to what kind of sari, so any kind of sari is sustainable. Like we said yesterday, a lot of people think it's handloom saris that are sustainable. Any kind of sari, just by nature of this thing is sustainable. But
Mrinalini, I have been working in sustainability space for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I never thought of sari like that, I mean, it was such an eye-opener, such a basic thing. And I never looked at it like that. I mean, so nice of you to have, highlighted it and brought it up like this. Please go ahead.
Thank you for appreciating that. But I really believe that. So now if you come to how these saris are produced, right? So obviously the, a mill level production causes a lot of other harmful side effects, even if they result in a final, sustainable sari. But handloom saris are far more sustainable. But again, all of us know, those who work in sustainability, that sustainability is a journey. So you can choose at which point you are absolutely able to contribute to sustainability. There can be no extremes on this. कि आप ये करोगे तो sustainable हो जाओगे, ये करोगे तो नहीं हो. It's at every point जो आपसे हो सकता है ना, जैसे मधुलिका जी ने कहा, आप बिल्कुल कीजिएगा. Do absolutely everything you can. So you can buy a natural dyed sari, you can buy a hand woven sari, you can buy a khadi sari. You can insist on a completely hand spun khadi sari as opposed to an ambar charkha sari. So there are multiple, in Telugu we say majli, right? Multiple stops from when you start from home till you get to Kashi. They're called Kashi majli, right? So
Yeah.
that's what it is. So that's an ultimate goal, but you can make these stops at any point. So at 6 yards plus, we started off with that. Let's popularize saris and let's popularize handloom saris even more. But that soon led us to this place where we know that a lot of people were not using saris, right? Because they stopped draping them, or their mothers have gifted this to them and they don't know what to do with them. So we said, let's find. And on the other hand, there are equally people who love saris but are not able to access them. So we've created Dobara, which is basically giving a second life to saris. It's pre-loved saris, which we list. And, people can buy. It's actually one of our most successful experiments on 6 yards plus. We started it on a whim, but we very soon realized, both on a business perspective as well as on a sustainability perspective, people really like the idea and they take it up. Right. Then the next thing is we have a thing called Sa Revive, where we're trying to, saris that are in your wardrobe, we bring them out, we recreate them with handcrafting, with kalamkari, with madhubani, with gond painting and multiple other crafts. Basically, we'll do anything to help you drape your sari again. Right. So it's just get them out of the wardrobe, drape them again. And honestly, I tell everyone who speaks to me that you don't need to buy this from us, not even from us, not from anywhere else. Just please drape a sari every day, please drape a sari every week, whatever works for you. So Sari Vibe helps do that, to get your saris out and help people get interested in their sari again. The final thing that we do, no, two more things we do. One is that, of course, we also donate. So we facilitate donation of saris. As Madhulika pointed out earlier, there's a lot of them that go into landfill that people don't want to use anymore. Right? Even if we're not able to sell them through the Dobara platform, we have tied up with nonprofits and social enterprises that will either upcycle or donate these. So even if they're defective, even if they're stained, just give them to us. We'll make sure that they don't go into the landfill. Right. And in fact, we had incentivized it with a discount coupon on our mainstream products if people donated. Because I invoke Telugu when I say there's a little punyam and a little purushartham, a little selfishness and a little, doing it for the world. But that I find incentivizes people very nicely to take these steps. Right. And the final thing that we do is that we also upcycle saris. So we've got, home decor made out of saris. So our attempt has always been to make sure that the sari's life is as extended as possible. And lastly, we have experimented with some plant-based options to silk, right? Because we realized that veganism is a movement, and we realized that I didn't want to enter into a very large luxury segment, because for me, everyday sari draping is more important. For a shadi, you'll wear your kanchi banarsi anyway. Right? We are trying to get you to wear it to work, to a board meeting, to a PTM or whatever. So we wanted a nice price point, but we also wanted sustainability. So we experimented with sustainably produced, certified fabrics, which of course then we put our designs on. So they were very attractive, they were very luxurious, but they were a good price point, and they're 100% sustainable. So these are some of the things we've done. I think it's a drop in the ocean. And I'd love to hear more about...
Every drop counts, Mrinalini, every drop counts. And sadly, there are few drops getting in the ocean on this. But thank you for taking us through this lovely journey. And before we wind up towards the end of the session, I would request all three of our guests to give 3 takeaways from their experience. And I'm saying it now so that you can, make up points in your mind. 3 takeaways for our audience who are logged in, tuned in right now, or this is available on YouTube. They can check it out later also. What are the 3 things that they can do in their daily lives, with which they can live a more sustainable lifestyle? Right. So before we wind up, we'll give 3 each, so that there is a takeaway for our audience. And when we are talking about blending our traditional things with sustainability, I move the mic to Vinita, who has been doing some wonderful and very different kind of work in this. Vinita, do share with us why and how did you start with this? What was the thought? And we are also interested in how you are trying to make operations sustainable in your IT company also. How you are going that extra mile, putting extra efforts. And I was arguing with her yesterday, कि sustainability में तो extra cost लगता है. It is a lot of cost if you want to be sustainable. And she was, fiercely saying, no, you just need efforts, you just need the intent, you just need the mind. And if you have that, there are options available. But I think they are less available. Vinita, take us through your journey on sustainability.
Thanks, Urvashi. Lovely to be here. And Mrinalini, I just wanted to say your conversation on saris touched a chord, because I actually wear saris every day to work, and both my kanjivarams and everything, so they get an outing, let us say. Anyway, so fabulous work, Madhulika, Mrinalini. Just to give you a quick either of my journey, I am a communications professional. Came back from the US, set up a communications content company, but felt I needed to do something that had more impact. Somehow just writing corporate content just felt, big deal, yeah. People read what you write, throw it away, forget it, move on. I'm not having impact on anyone's lives, on anyone's mind. And, when you're young, you believe you can change the world. as you get older, you at least try to change yourself. So I decided to change myself and I started to do two things. Both, I think, were part of the journey to who I am. One, I set up Krida. It's an organization to revive traditional games of India. I think Krida itself started because my grandparents used to babysit my children and they used to play many of the traditional games with them.
Wow.
And remember, these are my children's great grandparents. It's an 80-year age gap. But the children loved going there. Granted, my grandparents also spoiled them rotten, bought them whatever they wanted, but they enjoyed the games too. So I just started writing about it in the newspapers, and people started reaching out to me to say, hey, I love this game. Do you know how to play it? And then I said, okay, fine, let's make about 40, 50 games. Or pick a dozen games and do 40, 50 pieces. Honestly, I thought I'd sell a few, give the rest, and move on with my life. I often call myself an accidental entrepreneur because we sold out rather soon. And there I was left with the challenge of having to recreate and become a manufacturer on a more long-term basis. But I think one of the things I was very clear about when I started Krida is it had to be global in quality and Indian in spirit. And I think when I mean Indian in spirit, I'm talking not only about the design, the way the games are, but also the way they were played. And I think everyone has mentioned it somewhere or the other that today we all talk about sustainability as a buzzword. But sustainability was a part of our lives. It wasn't something apart from our lives. It was interwoven with our day-to-day lives. And I think unless we start thinking about sustainability again as something that we interweave with our lives, then we can't do this. Which is what I was telling Urvashi yesterday. While I'm running an IT company, I have to sit down and say, okay, I have to think of some sustainability initiatives. It doesn't work. It has to be interwoven with the way we think, the way we behave, the way we live, the way we gift, the way we use our things, the way we upcycle, recycle, reuse, whatever it is. And without that, it doesn't happen. So when I started Krida, that's the way I looked at it. In fact, to be perfectly honest, if you look at traditional games, traditionally people didn't make game pieces. They used stones and seeds and leaves, and I was very tempted to do the same thing. But unfortunately, idealism has to balance out with practicality. And all my retailers told me, if you sell a game and tell people to go get seeds from their kitchen, they are not going to buy your game. Please give us game pieces to play. So my next step was, okay, if I have to do the game pieces, how do I make it sustainable? How do I make it Indian in spirit? So I work with a number of artisans who work on traditional items, and they develop these game pieces for me. My games are, so we work with small industries. We work with them, small manufacturers, on how to use, how to reuse, how to reduce wastage, how to be safe, eco-friendly, sustainable, the kind of inks they use, everything. And I'm proud to say Krida was recently received its ISI certification for safety and quality, and very excited about that. So, which is why when you look at our games, they have an Indian spirit, but our quality levels are fantastic. Now, obviously, quality means you're going to have rejects, right? You're going to have things that are damaged. So what do we do with this? I'm excited to tell you that we've been doing this off and on in a less organized manner all these years. But this year, we've decided to actually create Krida accessories through upcycle damaged stuff. And keep your eyes out for it. Hopefully, in a few months, we'll have some exciting stuff out, which you can pick up. Just upcycle stuff. It should be damaged cartons, damaged canvases, damaged games. What do we do with those? Of course, a lot of it we reuse, we donate, but some things we can't, and this is where we go from here. But again, as I said, sustainability is not just as simple as that. So I'm going to share a little story and journey we had in Krida. One of the things that I used quite pervasively in games. And I think all of you, if I'm not mistaken, are from Hyderabad, so you may be familiar with the game Ashta Chema, which is played with cowrie shells. And we used to use cowrie shells in our games until I had this NGO reach out to me and say, ma'am, can you think of a substitute? So I said, why? It's biodegradable, it's safe. She said, yes. But when you start large-scale collection of cowrie shells, it damages our coastline, it damages our biodiversity. So I kid you not, the minute she said that, I said, no, we have to stop shells. But what's my substitute? What do I use instead? Excuse me. It took me almost a year to come up with substitutes. We looked at natural options. People use bamboo sticks cut in two or tamarind seeds cut in two. Now, all these are nice, but they don't have a shelf life. They're not attractive. I mean, people want to have to play the games. I can't lose sight of my primary objective, which is getting people back to play.
Yes.
So it took us almost a year to come up with something. We experimented with the craziest things, including coffee beans, which actually look like miniature cowries, and each one had a problem. And then we had to look at the probability factor because it shouldn't affect the gameplay itself. So we have pages and pages of notes with all our experiments where someone's throwing them and making a note of the numbers that come, making sure the probability works. So it was a crazy time. And I'm thrilled to tell you that we finally came up with a solution which is right under our nose. We worked with an artisan to create something that looks close to cowries. Sadly, though, very often when I sell the game, people will return it saying, oh, we don't want to play with this. We want to play with cowries. Some of them, when I explain, accept it. Some don't. But we try our best to educate them. We say, if you don't want cowries, please return it. We won't sell you the game. So this is part of our journey. And just to address
a call to take, Vinita, that, okay, we'll sell like this only, otherwise, we will not.
It is a tough call, but I think that's the way Krida has always believed. I'm going to, as I was telling Urvashi yesterday, the other thing I've been doing side by side is doing a lot of consultancy in the NGO space. And I realized something when I worked in the NGO space, and every NGO is focused on their area of concern. They're not looking at other people's areas of concern. So the NGO focused on child labor is worried about child labor. They're not worried about use of plastics. NGOs working with plastics are worried about plastics. They're not worrying about child labor or other, HIV or whatever it is. So I realized that it's not about sustainability. It's about being socially aware. And your organization needs to be a socially relevant organization, addressing issues of importance in society today, no matter what the issues are. And it's only then that you truly are a balanced organization. I've tried to, in the last few years, to support the family business. I've kind of reduced my consultancy. My husband and I run an IT company together. And I've tried to bring these concepts to the IT company also. And I think Mrinalini said, sustainability is a journey. It's not like you can do everything. No one can do everything. But there are things you can do. It can be as simple as buying more efficient ACs, energy efficient ACs for your thing. I was talking to Mrinalini about how this year when we did Diwali gifting, we said, no plastics, no things that are going to be 100 bags that get tossed in the landfill. So we picked up these really lovely things we picked up from artisans. So Mrinalini's answer to me was, not everyone would be aware of it. I agree. But everyone is aware of more energy efficient air conditioners. It costs a lot, a little more. I'm not denying it. But we're willing to pay lakhs, crores for our homes. I mean, are we not going to, isn't planet Earth an equally expensive? I mean, isn't our land worth so much, our country, our world? I mean, if we can spend on our homes, surely I can afford to spend something. What's the cost of planet Earth?
Yeah. Actually, when you say that, Vinita, what strikes me is I've thought for a long time that if we knew the true cost of the cheap things we buy, we may not be buying them. Right. So if we were to have a sort of cost to environment for some of the products that are just available for, a few hundreds or a few tens, then we'd think twice about making the choice.
Nalini, I'm going to add something else. Very often you go to a store, they'll say, "Oh, you buy this, we'll give you something free." You really don't want the something free.
Yeah.
You take it because you don't want it. You stuff it somewhere. You forget about it. Then later on, it's broken, whatever. You throw it away. Fine.
It
If you're
goes in
going
the
to take
lake.
it, at least make sure it reaches someone who's going to use it. Or don't take it. So, these are things we can all do. This doesn't require cost. It doesn't require effort. It doesn't require time. It just requires it to become part of your psyche.
So well said, and I can see how we all are resonating and echoing each other's thoughts. And that's the beauty of this. I mean, I'm so happy that we are kicking off Women's Day in this manner. And in the interest of time, I would quickly, before I wrap up and give a conclusion, I would want to take it back to Madhulika if she can quickly share, you know, three to dos for our audience, which can help us live on a better planet. I mean, that is how I'll put it.
Yes, one of the which we were discussing earlier is to use in your home all the natural cleaners. Maybe
Mhm.
by enzyme, may not be, but any of the natural cleaners if you are using in your home, right? So whatever the sewage is coming from your home, it will be actually blessed. So that is very much necessary. The second thing I really want that if you're going to the lake or celebrating any kind of the festival or the birthdays at the, please don't use plastic. Right? These are the basic things. Apart from that, just last point, which I little bit elaborate, Urvashi,
Sure.
that we human beings work when our tails are on fire. So I request that we have to work before when our tails get fire. This is
That's
one
how
thing.
I started. It's the wrong time to talk about sustainability. It was yesterday. So true. I completely agree. Yeah.
And the another thing which I really now I have changed the EDM is which is more miter, pen or the sword, right? So some people used to say pen, some people used to say sword, but I really believe it's the hand which is the miter. So it's not that it's now the time that you have to pick up that what is more miter and start working accordingly. So sometimes pen, sometimes sword, but please pick up something. That's more important. It's not you're still waiting at a government will do the changes or somebody else will do it, because the biggest problem with the earth is that people think that someone else
Somebody
will
else will
save
do
the
it.
earth. So
There is no
these
one,
are the
no
three things.
superwoman, so no Superman to coming to rescue.
Yes.
We have to
So
do it.
these are the three things
And I
which is
love
not
the way you have
necessary.
changed the narrative. Go ahead, please.
And visit lakes as more as possible. If you have the water bodies, please go nearby, check it, what are the issues, right? Just think it. Sometimes enjoy it also. Right, that we are doing so good pollution. Wow, wow, wow. We are such a good generation that we are making so much pollution. Let's enjoy sometime your pollution also. But whatever you do it, please visit your lakes. Please visit the water bodies. These are my three things. So,
Thank you,
thanks
Madhulika. I
for
really
for
love
the
it. And I love the way you change the narrative. Forget about the pen and the sword. The hand is more, mightier, the one which takes action. It has to pick it up. I mean, we never thought it like that. So thank you so much. And I already see you are on move. We have been holding you up, but it was so necessary. It was incomplete without you. I pass
thanks.
on to Mrinalini to share her three takeaways for the audience.
Thanks, Urvashi. So the first thing is please get your saris out and drape them. Rather than you can instead of buying that skirt and the trousers and the dress, you can drape a sari as all three and as a sari. So please give it a shot. Please inculcate that in your wardrobe as much as you can. The second is I think that buy mindfully. Think of the end use, like where this product is going to end up even before you buy it. As Vinita was saying, don't get it into your house and then think what to do. Think of where it's finally going to go and then make the purchase if you really need to do it. And taking on from that, learn to distinguish between what you need and what you want. I think that we need far less than we want. And I know that it's not a 0-1 concept. That somewhere in the middle you'll find a compromise. But to think very, very carefully before making a purchase, before buying anything, I think is really important. Because the amount we can consume is going up, the amount we can spend on this is going up. Now that constraint is removed, 20 years ago, that constraint was there. Now that constraint is removed, it has to be in our mind to rein ourselves back. पहले अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते थे, अब करते हैं तो जरूरत है क्या सोचिएगा.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, that's so important. So important. Thank you, Nilani, for these wonderful takeaways. Over to you, Anita.
I just have one takeaway. Make it a part of your life, not something apart from your life. Make it part of your everyday, in every little way. What you can do. And somewhere it will have its impact. Thank you so much for having me today.
I really appreciate the time you all have taken out, and I know there was lots more to talk about. Somewhere I had to, interrupt and pass on the conversation, but in the interest of time, that was the best way of doing it. I'm sorry if I, cut down short on something, but we have so much to share and tell that 1 hour is not enough. Maybe Major Shetty, you should consider having a bigger program on sustainability. And my takeaway, would be, if I can put it in one word, mindful consumption is what we are talking about. If we start consuming mindfully, then most of the boxes are ticked on whatever you all have mentioned. And then there has to be a strong intent. That's what is coming out of this conversation. It has to be a way of living. It cannot be something that I do on a Saturday or a Sunday or for 2 hours. You have to live like that. So again, mindful consumption. And I really loved when all of you were echoing, how can you all started on that same note? How can I give back to the society? How can I contribute to the society? That thought itself is so beautiful. I remember, in our NCRT books, the first page used to be Gandhiji's Talisman. I don't know how many of you remember, but it always, and nobody used to read it. And I always used to read it, and I used to, it stayed with me. It always used to say, never think, what is the country doing for you? You should think what you have done for the country. And if we all start thinking like that, and I feel so privileged that I'm talking to women who are in that thought process. And I'm sure when you think like that, the ecosystem around you, the human beings around you automatically, start thinking like that. And then we talked about, do whatever you can, wherever you are, in whatever capacity, which is so important. Some people think, oh yeah, I can see there is a problem around, one day I will work on it. It doesn't work like that. Start from wherever you are, and in whatever capacity you are doing, you should do. And the major takeaway for me, and the message,
it's 11 o'clock.
Sorry, that's my system. The major takeaway which we want, a message which we want to give to the world is, traditional is the way to go. I mean, if we are connected to our roots, and if we start operating the way we used to do earlier, most of the problems will vanish. And I think Madhulika, Mrinalini, and Vinita, what you are doing, I mean, if people start operating the way our, great grandfathers were operating, there would hardly be any waste. We would be reusing, recycling, and that will be the way of life. That has been the way of life for us, before technology and other things, happened to us. But I'm so glad, and in the interest of time, we have to finish it here. I really appreciate and thank you so much, all of you, to talk your heart on this topic, and we'll be connected. And I hope our audience has got some good takeaways. And please do visit their Insta profiles, their social medias, and connect with them, and promote and help their businesses, is all that I can say. Thank you so much.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.